Now, on Thursday, Republicans in the Senate Judiciary Committee, with the support of 4 Democrats, recommended a Senate vote for Kurt Engelhardt. Now, Kurt Engelhardt is a district court judge in Louisiana that has been nominated by Donald Trump to the 5th Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, that means that Engelhardt will be up for confirmation very soon. Now, why should it matter? Well, like a lot of Trump appointees, Engelhardt has a bit of a disturbing record when it comes to rulings. Now, I'm going to detail some of these rulings for you guys now. According to Salon, Engelhardt got national attention back in 2013 for his ruling in one of the most scandalous cases of racial injustice and police brutality in the 21st century. This is the Danziger Bridge shootings. Now, this happened following Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. Now, what happened is that New Orleans police officers, there were 4 of them, ended up shooting 6 unarmed African Americans, killing 2 and shooting the arm off of 1 victim. These victims were evacuating from the hurricane. One was even chased down and shot in the back by police officers as they were fleeing for their lives. Now, what in the hell were police officers doing shooting unarmed civilians that were fleeing from a hurricane? That alone is horrific, right? But what comes after is actually far, far worse. To conceal their guilt, the officers involved attempted to frame the victims as assailants. Oh, they're dangerous. It was them. They were the real threat. They were coming right for us. I mean, what are you going to do when there are African Americans that are coming after you? You don't shoot them. Come on, dude. They were unarmed. They were running for their lives. And instead, look, you should be able to run to the police if you have a problem. But you can't. You have to be running away from the police. And that's not even a guarantee that they won't shoot you in the back. Disgusting. So, look, again, the facts of this case, and they have already been convicted. This isn't something that hasn't gone to trial, that hasn't been adjudicated yet. No, this had gone through trial, and these police officers were convicted of murder, of killing these 2 people. This is not disputed, right? And part of what happened during that case is that they established that these police officers had then tried to cover up their crimes. So it's as heinous as it gets, right? And they were punished for it. Well, not as much as they should have. And this is where Engelhardt comes into play. Now, the cops originally received sentences ranging from 38 to 65 years in prison and an additional 6 years for another one that it was involved in the cover-up. Now, Engelhardt thought that was a little too harsh. During the proceedings, he claimed there was, quote, an air of mendacity around the prosecution and complained that the plea deals prosecutors got from the cooperating witnesses prevented him from issuing lighter sentences to these officers. I'd go easy on this guys if I could. I mean, they're white guys just like me. Here we have convicted murderers who killed innocent people, were found guilty of not only killing them, but covering up their crimes. And you've got a federal judge saying, no, don't worry about it. Let's go easy on these guys. They don't deserve so many 35 to 64 years. No, of course not. No, they actually deserve less sentences. And guess what happened? That's exactly what they got. Salon explains that Engelhardt was able to get rid of the heavy sentences when it was discovered that 3 of the federal prosecutors had left, and this is very important, anonymous comments on a local website regarding the case, claiming that the comments created a prejudicial, poisonous atmosphere for the jury, even though there was no evidence that any of the jurors had actually read those comments. Engelhardt decided that was enough to throw out the convictions. Gone. Oh, 34 to 65. Nope, gone. Let's throw these out. Because you made an anonymous comment on a website that people may or may not have read. Come on, man. Now, what happened? Well, the police were retried. You know what happened this time? They were still found guilty, but they had received 7 to 12 years for the murders and only 3 years for the cover-up. He got what he wanted. He's like, I thought these sentences were way too harsh on these poor police officers. So I want lighter sentences. And then he got the lighter sentences. Now you could say, well, look, come on, there's this one case that doesn't show that he's a terrible judge. It doesn't show that he's not fair to minorities or women. It doesn't show that he's a bad judge. Maybe he just felt really strongly in this case of the police officers. Well, this takes us to another decision called Truvia versus Julian, right? And again, the argument could be that he just wants lighter sentences for everybody. Well, in this case, Truvia versus Julian, Engelhardt had actually denied the civil rights claims of 2 African-American plaintiffs who were held in prison for 27 years before they found out that their constitutional rights were violated because exculpatory evidence had been withheld at their trial. So, in this case, Engelhardt dismissed the claim that the defendants had been victims of prosecutorial misconduct. So, you got these African Americans, right? These 2 African American plaintiffs. They had their civil rights denied because the evidence that was used to convict them and send them to prison for 27 years was withheld. What the hell? But when it came to the cops, posting anonymous comments was enough to taint this trial. But withholding evidence from the jury that would have proven possibly their innocence? No, that's fine. You dare to leave comments anonymously? Obtains the trial. You withhold evidence, not tainting the trial. It's fine. I permit it. That's the kind of justice Engelhardt believes in. There's more to make it worse. It's been reported that Engelhardt had dismissed women's complaints about sexual harassment without even giving the plaintiffs an opportunity to even present their case. In the 3 dismissals, Engelhardt argued that there was no need to try the cases because the incidents described to the plaintiffs were neither severe nor physically threatening and did not rise to the level of an objectively abusive environment. Now, let me get into context about what these complaints alleged. One of them included groping. Well, that seems to be abusive. Maybe you could argue that it's not severe. I would argue differently, but okay. Well, what about threatening? Well, another allegation was they would corner women at work and forcibly kiss them. That seems a bit threatening. That seems definitely a bit severe. But this one is even better. One of them had alleged that a man had threatened to break into a woman's house while they slept. That seems a bit threatening. Not only that, but there's some lesser stuff. Subjecting employees to back rubs against their will, pinching, playing porn videos in the workplace, and asking for sex from coworkers. So it's not nearly as severe as some of the other stuff, but definitely makes for a very uncomfortable workplace and one that you shouldn't have to be forced into being into. That is a complaint. And when the judge said, or saw these, they're like, oh, no, that's fine. I mean, asking your coworkers for sex and playing porn in the office, that's Tuesday. It's gross, man. But obviously, he seems to have no empathy for African Americans or women at all. And plenty of empathy, funny enough, for cops. No wonder he is a Trump nominee. That is exactly what Donald Trump is looking for in a justice. Now look, if the Democrats, 4 Democrats advance this guy, 4 of them. If the rest of the Democrats do not challenge this guy, especially with the Me Too movement going on, then they're an absolute lost cause. But again, for Republicans, for Trump, this is exactly the kind of person that they can't wait to see making decisions in court. And looking at his records, it's pretty plain to see why. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.